Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today for another herb profile, and that is going to be about Horehound and the benefits of and some ways that you can use it. And before I get started, if you're interested in more herb profiles, I have a long playlist I've been working on for 5 years, and I'm always adding to it, and I have so many more herbs to go. And I will link to that full playlist in the description box down below, so you can open that up and look for any specific herbs that I've done already that you would like to learn more about. So let's get started on the benefits, and then I'll also talk a little bit about how I grow it. So it is another one of those great herbs that can help prevent cancer. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It is good for helping to control cholesterol and diabetes. It is really good for detoxification in the form of a diaphoretic, which is something that helps you to sweat, or diuretic, which obviously is something that helps you flush excess water out of your system. It is good for helping to relieve menstrual cramps. It helps to boost immunity, and since it is a bitter, like with just about any other bitter herb, it's going to aid in digestion. It is good at helping to relieve motion sickness and for coughs, especially good as an expectorant, and is also good for bronchitis. So generally speaking, we're looking at Horehound being good for a lot of respiratory type issues. It is a natural antimicrobial, which can be effective against candida. Generally speaking, it is a great herb for helping with the common cold, and it's helpful at getting rid of intestinal parasites. Now, let me read a few warnings. This is one of those herbs you do not want to use if you're pregnant or nursing. And a lot of times when this is said, sometimes there's some actual facts to back it up, and other times these warnings are given simply because there's not enough evidence to prove its safety when taken if pregnant or nursing. It should not be given to infants, nor should it be taken if you have serious heart issues. And even if you don't have serious heart issues, it's not one of those you want to take in large amounts, because then it can cause some issues with your heart. But then again, Horehound is not one of those most of us are going to take in large quantities anyway, because it is quite bitter. I started growing it in 2020. I started it from seed. Now, Horehound is in the mint family, and any herb that is in the mint family, sometimes it can be a little bit persnickety when you're trying to get it started from seed, but once you have a good plant going, it's going to keep coming back, and it's going to get bigger every year, and it's going to spread. And Horehound is one of those. A lot of times when you're talking plants like that, if you know someone who already is growing it, whether it be catnip, peppermint, mojito mint, oregano, thyme, any of those, basically all you need to do is just get a start. If you know someone who's already growing it, and you're willing to either pay them for a start, or maybe they're willing to just give it to you, all you got to do is take a little sprig with a little bit of root to it, stick it in the ground, and it'll start growing. It is recommended, though, depending on your location, you may want to put it in a pot and let the roots really get established before you put it in the ground. But just like with most mints, it can be grown just about anywhere. So whenever it comes to new herbs that I'm growing from seed, I always start them in small little pots indoors. I do it right here with no added heat or light, just right in front of my south-facing windows. And that's what I did when I started the Horehound. And then as it warmed up enough outside, I moved it to the greenhouse. And from that point, once it was big enough, had a good enough root system, I then planted it directly into the ground. And mostly the parts of the plant that are used are all the aerial parts, the leaves and the flowers. Since I'm fairly new at growing Horehound, the only way I've used it so far is in my homemade cough, cold, and flu syrup remedy / prevention. And I have a recipe on this, and in that recipe, I used a ½ cup of the dried Horehound. You may want to start, if you're going to start working with this, may want to start with a ¼ cup first and see what you think, because it is bitter. However, with the addition of the honey and the other great herbs and spices that are in this, I don't mind the bitterness of this. It's not too overpowering, but it's going to depend on how sensitive you are to that flavor. So start small and work your way up. I've eaten it straight from the plant. I tried to make a tea out of it. and it was too bitter for a tea. But that you could do that if you can handle it. And so that's one way that you can take it. Another thing that you can do with just about any herb that is either too hard to take in the form of an extract, a syrup, or a tea is you can always dry it up and then powder it up and encapsulate it and take that way. So there are some pretty common ways to take it, and again, it's all going to depend on you and what's easiest for you to take. Some people can't handle taking capsules, so taking it in the form of an extract or even a syrup like I have here. I'm loving this syrup, by the way. It's just been, this is my best recipe so far. And that Horehound, I think, just kind of helps take it over the top. Now, I don't need to take it much. It's one of those things we take only if we feel something coming on, or like my throat tends to get real sore from all the talking, and I already have nodules on my vocal cords. So I'll take that for that. Because the various herbs and spices I use in here are very soothing to my throat. Well, the other day I felt this wasn't the normal soreness I get because of my vocal cords, but I felt like something over here on the side, like it could have been a tonsil or something, getting pretty sore, and I was concerned I might have been getting something, coming down with something. And so I went ahead and took about a half shot glass of this, which would be about a tablespoon really. And I just sipped on it slowly, and I keep it in the fridge, and then I just let it slowly run down the side of my throat and felt it kind of coat that sore area. And the coldness of it, obviously, plus the herbs and spices in there, gave it immediate relief just from the contact. But then within a half hour or so, the sore throat was gone, and it hasn't been back since. So I'm really happy with this recipe, so I do recommend you check it out. Again, I'll be linking to the video recipe down below, and under that video is also the link to the written recipe. But I still recommend you watch and listen to the video because I have added information in there that I think is important, but you still have the written recipe with the photos I took to go with that you can copy and paste into your own personal document. Now, even though I do sell the seeds to the Horehound, I started selling them this year, they sold out quickly. I will be selling it more next year, but if you're wanting to get this in your garden right away, I do recommend doing some looking around because the seeds I will have won't be ready until late summer of 2022. So you might want to look around on Etsy, find a place that grows some close to you, or again, see if you can find some starts that you can put in your garden. I do recommend trying to have it be one of those things that you get in your medicinal herb garden right away because of all its many great properties, as you can see right here, and the benefit it is, but to adding it to your syrup. And some people do like to also make lozenges out of with their Horehound and other herbs. And of course, if you already use Horehound, whether you grow it or not, go ahead and share with us down below how you use it and what it's helped you with. We really love reading those testimonials. And don't forget to check out the links I'll be putting in the description box down below by clicking on either show more right down here below my channel name or that little gray arrow if you are on a smart device that's over here on this side. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.